Welcome to Should You Platinum, a show where I talk about a game I've recently got the platinum in and share my experience of the platinum journey and whether or not I think you should platinum it. Kao the Kangaroo on PS4 and PS5 is an old school inspired 3D action platformer that fans of the old Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter 1 game on PS2 will instantly find familiar and fun, offering a great mix of platforming action as well as some hand-to-hand melee combat thanks to Kao's magical boxing gloves. It is a fun little game that won't take you too long to complete, and while it is a distinctively low budget game, there is a lot of fun to be had playing it for fans of retro games like Crash. So let's break down the trophies in the game. In total, there are 16 trophies to unlock, and it took me around 12 hours to platinum it. Though unfortunately there are some glitched trophies, it will only take you one playthrough, and none of the trophies are missable because you can always go back into levels to pick up whatever collectible you might have missed. There is of course 1 platinum trophy, 9 gold trophies, 4 silver trophies, and 2 bronze trophies to get, with a difficulty of 2 out of 10. So like I said, it's not a very challenging platinum trophy. Okay, so let's talk about the game's story-based trophies. These are the unmissable trophies that you'll get just for playing the game. So the very first trophy you'll get in the game is a bronze trophy called Warm Up, and it's basically given to you for just completing the very first sort of training level tutorial mission in the game. So once you reach the very end of this level and speak to Walt, who is like your sensei, and then go through the door to complete it and return to the hub world, you will unlock the bronze trophy for completing the level. Now you can see it took me 15 minutes, so it's a fairly long level, but it's a very straightforward one. The rest of the story-based trophies just come from the end of world boss fights that you'll do. So there are a handful of these throughout the game, but none of them are very challenging, to be fair. The bosses all have really easy patterns to sort of memorize. You basically just avoid them until they finish their attacks and get dizzy or whatever, and then you hit them and repeat that. They have about 3 phases each, with the patterns slightly changing. So sometimes you might have a shield that comes up, or in the 3rd phase the shield might come up, but it might also do like a shockwave attack, so you have to dodge that first before the shield goes down and you can hit them, kind of thing. So it's just little things like that they shouldn't really give you any sort of challenge whatsoever. I don't think any of the bosses killed me, so I didn't have to try them more than once. So yeah, there's a bronze trophy, and then later on, once you get closer to like the second half of the game, you'll get a silver trophy called Another Day at the Office, for defeating the boss of that world. We then go to the ice world and get a trophy called Reborn for defeating the I can't remember, the Great One or something, or the Old One, one of the masters you need to do. And then at the end of the game, you'll get another silver trophy for defeating the Great One final boss, and the game then throws you another trophy straight after that, a gold trophy called And Lived Happily Ever After, and that's basically for completing the game. So next up, I'm going to talk about the collectible trophies in the game, because this is a collect-a-thon platformer game where there's a lot of things for you to grab. So the gold trophy that we can get, called Find Them All, is for finding all of these scrolls that give you information about the enemies. So when you're fighting certain enemies for like the first time, when you encounter a new enemy and you start to kill a bunch of them, you'll often find that they drop scrolls after you defeat them. So you'll see it here as I take out this one. The guy on the left has dropped a scroll. Now usually these will automatically zoom into your body and you'll collect them, and basically you're just challenged with finding all of the scrolls about all of the different enemies in order to get the gold trophy. So when you're playing through levels, you'll often get these little cutscenes that introduce you to certain new enemy types, and it'll give you their name. But don't worry if that first one you kill doesn't drop the scroll, because as you play through the level you'll find more of those enemies, and at some point it will just drop for you. So here you can see I've encountered the sheep enemy, sheep master was it, for the very first time, and there's a bunch of them here, and as I'm going around this little area, this room, I'm taking out several of them, but the scroll isn't dropping. But then when I do my power move, one of them dropped it there, and I pick it up and it gives you that little notification at the top of the screen that you've got a new entry unlocked. So This is a collectible trophy that I don't really think you'll need to worry about. I certainly wasn't. I was just playing through the game, fighting every enemy you see, take them out, and you should definitely easily get this trophy as you're just naturally playing through. But I will say, if you have missed one, you can always press the touchpad and go into the Calpedia thing, and here you can look at all the enemies, and I'm just going to list them all here so you can see them, just in case you happen to have, for some reason, somehow missed one. You can see all of the enemy types here and get a decent idea of which one it is that you're missing. But like I said, this one I'm pretty confident that it will just unlock for you naturally if you're playing through the game and just taking out every enemy you come across. Basically, you should get these scrolls dropped. Next up, we have another gold trophy called KO, which is given to you for collecting all of the KO letters that are found throughout many of the game's levels. So these are collectibles that are only in the levels, they're not in any of the hub worlds, so you don't have to worry about finding them there. So basically, it's like the Tony Hawk skate letters. There's a bunch of letters scattered around the levels, and you have to find 3 of them in each level to spell out the name of the hero, Cal. So these are actually tracked as a stat that you can look at when you go look at the level select screens, so you can always see which ones you're missing in certain levels. I'm not sure what happens if you collect like the K and the A but you don't get the O and you complete the level, if it resets and you have to get all 3 again. But it's very easy to find these when you're just playing through the levels. If you see a branching path or somewhere that looks a bit off the beaten track, go and explore that first before progressing through the level, and you'll more often than not find the KO letters there. So we have another gold trophy called Master Key, and this is for another collectible for finding all of the runes in the game. So again, this is one that's also tracked within the level stats screens, and these are just collectibles that are found in the hub world. There's a couple of them scattered around the hub world, but be aware that they don't always appear until you've completed certain levels. So there could be some that come a bit later in the hub world and not necessarily on your first visit. So just be aware of that. Try and play a few levels and you might see that they suddenly appear in places that they weren't there before. I certainly found that. But for the most part, the ones that are in levels, they are just put on the path that you need to go through to progress to the end of the level. So you don't really have to worry about missing those. It's just the ones in the hub world that might give you a little bit of trouble. So there are more collectible trophies, but unfortunately these are ones that I'm going to have to mark as glitched trophies. So the first one of these is a gold trophy called Between Worlds, and this is given to you for finding and completing all of the well challenge areas. So when you're playing through the levels, you'll often find on different paths and secret areas that you'll find these wells that you can jump into, and these will take you to like a sort of challenge area, kind of like those ones in Super Mario Sunshine. So they'll often be either like a platforming assault course or a sort of arena for you to fight a bunch of enemies, and once you kill them all you'll complete it. So they're not that hard, to be fair, they're quite easy to get through, and once you reach the end you go back through the well and it takes you back to where you were in that level. So unfortunately you can't actually directly see which levels you've missed a well in, so that does become a little bit of a pain, and this trophy has been noted to be glitched. When people have found all of them and played all of them through to completion, the trophy hasn't popped. Now for me, when I did it, it didn't actually glitch, and once I completed my very last one, I got the gold trophy, but I have seen reports of people not getting it. So a tip that I'll give you is find the well in the hub world, and from here you can replay all of the wells that you've unlocked, and it also allows you to see which ones you haven't found, and handily they're all numbered in the order that you will see them in the levels. So if you know you've missed number 5, for example, you can look online and see where that one is. So that allows you to just easily find the ones you're missing, even though the game doesn't track them properly. If it has glitched, keep playing all of the wells over and over again, and hopefully eventually that trophy will pop. So unfortunately there's another glitch trophy. So, it's also related to collectibles, and it is the Gold Healthy Trophy, which requires you to collect all of the additional hearts to give you a maximum of 10 hit points. So you gain an additional heart by finding 4 of the fragments that make up a single heart, and these 28 heart fragments are the collectibles that are found throughout many of the game's levels, as well as a few of them are brought from shops in the hub world. Struth. Looking at PSN profiles, you can see several comments about this trophy being glitched already, as it doesn't unlock for multiple players after they've collected the last heart piece and have all 10 hearts unlocked. Ah, for fuck's sake. The problem seems to be due to the ones you have to buy for 500 coins a fragment in the shops found in the hub worlds between levels. So, if the very last heart piece you need to complete that 10th heart is one that you have to buy, once you do, there is a very good chance that this trophy won't unlock. Oh my god. Worse still, users are reporting that even after a second and third playthrough, getting all of the heart pieces again, grabbing the very last one in different levels and not in the shop, the trophy still doesn't pop for them? Fucking hell. So thankfully I knew about this glitch going into the game, so I did manage to avoid it. However, I did find another bullshit problem with this trophy myself, as I was going through the game trying to find each heart piece in the levels by myself. It was all going well until I reached the final boss, where I realised I was missing one heart fragment to make the 10th and final heart. I had brought all the ones in the shops, so it had to be one that I'd missed in one of the levels somewhere. Now, the problem with this is that I had no idea which level I missed it in, and what's bullshit in this platformer collectathon type game is that it does not track which hearts you've collected. That's despite it already tracking the KO letters, the scrolls, the blue gems and the runes in each of the levels and the hubs. So why doesn't it track the hearts? Fuck! For me, this is a massive oversight on the devs' part. Why show some of the collectibles that you need to get in each level, but not all of them? And then why say 100% completed on all the levels when you've done it, even though you can't see all of the stats that you need to pick up the things? So yeah, this is a frustrating one, and for a tip, I would definitely say when you're playing through this game, use a guide for these collectibles, or make a note of all the ones you find and the levels you find them in, to make it easier to go back afterwards and find the ones you're missing. Okay, now let's move on to the skill-based trophies in the game. So there aren't many of these, but these are the ones that you'll have to put a bit of effort in to at least get these done. So the first is a trophy for defeating a boss without taking any damage yourself. So I did this on the very first boss in the Terror's Lair level. At the end of the first hub world. So here's just a clip of me fighting the boss. So the bosses I think are all fairly easy, but this one was the one that I just thought would be the easiest to go for without getting hit. So as he starts his attack, he'll do these slides across the room, leaving a trail of purple fire, and you basically just need to dodge him and jump over the fire if you're running around. So you just constantly run around dodging those and wait until he's done about 4 or 5 of these sliding moves. Then he gets a bit dizzy, and that's when you can go in to attack him, and you just repeat that until that first phase of the fight is complete. So like I said earlier, the bosses tend to have about 2 or 3 phases where their attacks might change slightly. So here you can see I finished him off and took enough health off that the phase is now changing, and it's introducing this chandelier element to the boss fight. So if you do get hit, simply quit out of the level and then just reload it and try again. You can always, even if you do find you've beat all the bosses, you can always go back to the level and replay it anyway. So now he's bringing in these tornadoes, so it's just a case of running around and just waiting for him to finish attacking you. So you've just got to basically dodge them. They're not too hard to dodge really, just keep moving, you should be alright. If something's coming close to you, press circle to roll. So after the tornadoes disappear, he'll drop these 3 blue crystals. You just need to pick them up with triangle and throw them at the chandelier. Throw one, and then he'll start to attack you again with the tornadoes, and it does the same thing. It doesn't really change at this point. They're still doing the same sort of movements, so you know how to dodge these because you've already done it. Once that ends, he drops another crystal, and you can throw that at the chandelier again to smash another one of the purple crystals on it and lower the chandelier a bit more. And now we just got to do this same thing again one more time to end up completing this phase of the fight. So you can see here it is quite easy. I mean, I wasn't super focused and concentrating, but I guess you have got to just be aware of what's going on and be aware of the phases and how they change throughout the fight. But yeah, for the most part, it's a fairly simple one to do. You might have to try once or twice, but really it shouldn't keep you stuck for that long. So now we get the third and final phase. He's still doing the tornado attacks, but we now have these platforms that we have to climb up to smash the crystal to damage the boss. So just be careful when you're climbing up these to make sure you avoid the tornadoes. If they're coming at you and you don't think you can get onto a platform, just jump off, jump down to the ground and just try again. Don't risk it and end up getting hit at this later stage of the boss, because you will have to replay the whole thing. But basically we just need to do this 3 times. So here's the last one now. You can see sometimes I get a bit close and I just try to move out the way and don't risk it. But yeah, once you climb up and hit that crystal for the 3rd time, you should get the flawless victory trophy if you haven't got hit during the boss fight. So there's another trophy that's glitched on PS4 called Fatality, and that's for defeating 5 enemies at once with the finishing move. So you do the finishing move by hitting enemies without taking damage, and that'll build up your meter, allowing you to use a special move. So the trick here is to get a crowd of enemies like you can see here in this snow level, and then just punch each enemy at least once to weaken them. Then once your bar fills up, use the finishing move and it will hopefully kill all of them. So we now move on to the MISC trophies in the game. These are just weird ones that I can't really categorise. The first of which is the Silver Mystery of the Volcano trophy, which requires you to wear a costume from KO 3 on PS2. So in the hub world you'll have to meet this guy here who has a shop, and there should be a wardrobe nearby that you can interact with, and it's here that we need to buy this brown shirt and also this brown hat in order to get the Mystery of the Volcano trophy, as that's a costume from Cal 3 apparently. So as soon as you do that, the trophy will unlock. We now have another shop-based trophy, kind of, in the form of the Gold Health Insurance trophy, which requires you to get 20 lives. So you can often find these Cal heads throughout the levels that will give you an extra life, but you can also buy them from the shop. So after you buy so many, they'll come out of stock, but if you travel to another hub world and come back, you'll be able to buy some more. They do cost 500 at a time, but you can easily buy them all, then reload your save from the cloud and keep all your money if you want to do it that way. So after that, that's all the trophies, and the only one left now is the Platinum trophy. So I got this at the very end of the game after defeating the final boss, because I did all the shop trophies, I did all the collectible trophies, and all I had to do was beat the final boss and get the trophies for completing the game, and the Platinum trophy then unlocked. So yeah, this is a very straightforward Platinum. Unfortunately, there are a couple of glitch trophies which I'm hoping will get fixed. But yeah, this was a Platinum that I did in just over a day. It's a fun little game, and it is a low budget one that's reflected in its price, and it will only last you a weekend, but I would say plat it if you're a fan of these retro platformers.
He's got his beanie on, he switched to console on. It's just a game, so why's he getting so pissed off? He's playing shitty games, the ones he seems to hate. Game over again, okay, let's give this one more try. Super Beanie Man.